What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the DMW Sports NFL season preview series. Happy to be back here for the number 10 team on the countdown, the Denver Broncos. And so I will never lie to you guys. I will tell you where my biases do, in fact, come into play. I hate everything associated with the Denver Broncos except for these throwback uniforms. So throwback uniforms are beautiful, whether it's the blue helmet, the white helmet, and that's why they are featured here across the season preview thumbnail. And appreciate you guys for coming by to listen in. This is a team that obviously burst on the scene last year, led by an excellent defense, had a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix that came in and stepped up and be able to provide better play than I was expecting. A lot of people were expecting. Obviously, the culture change of Sean Payton coming in and being able to kind of clean house with the Russ era that was kind of remnants and left over. Now they are moving into a place in which they feel like they should be consistent playoff factors and want to compete in the AFC West. And so as far as kind of the team direction, they are chasing the best. And I don't mean that as just the best in the AFC West. I mean the best in the entire NFL. I know they obviously are not the defending Super Bowl champion. Shout out to the Eagles. But they are chasing the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been the standard in the NFL throughout this era. And now they are trying to compete for a division that has been on lockdown for the last 9 years. Can they change that with the ways in which they've done things? And again, I talk about Sean Payton, the ways in which he's come in and change the culture. I think that he is an A-minus coach, one of the best in the National Football League. He is obviously a good offensive mind. I think or I should say great offensive mind. I think the ways in which he really set up the offense from Bo Nix, particularly after the month of the season that was a little bit of rough start for him, to be able to get him comfortable, use some things that really can come into play in his athleticism to allow that to shine. Then you saw the maturity in which he had in college, because he had played a lot of college football, really carry over at the back half of the season, obviously get them into the playoffs. And so ultimately, the front office and the way in which they built this team, again, heavy on the defense, but been able to be really effective and built one of the more underrated offensive lines in the National Football League as well, is a commendable fact. I give them B+ as far as their grade, and they deserve a lot of credit for what they've been able to do front office wise. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the offseason review. So the Broncos didn't have too many offseason acquisitions or subtractions. With the subtractions, Zach Wilson, backup quarterback, ends up moving on. Javonte Williams, draft pick for the Broncos that started off his career really hot. Unfortunately, did have a significant injury that he's never really gotten back from. Also moved on. Cody Barton lost as far as linebacker depth, and Riley Dixon moves on from the punter position. As far as their additions, two kind of, a little bit headliner names as far as coming over from the 49ers, guys with injury issues, but guys that went on the field have proven to have a high level of play. Talanoa Hufanga at the safety position and Dre Greenlaw at the linebacker position to help out the second level. Evan Ingram comes over from Jacksonville, in which he's kind of established himself as a really good pseudo tight end, more so significant slot option, and how Sean Payton wants to use him is going to be something that you're certainly going to watch as far as this offense is concerned. We'll talk a little bit more about that as it pertains to some of the hot takes as well. Draft wise, picked up JAHDAE Barrett in the first round out of Texas, an elite slot option prospect type of guy, a guy that you can move around. He can play inside or outside. Really good feet, incredible hand usage. I think at the line of scrimmage, the kind of press wide receivers is something that's a little bit of an underrated skill. Good ball skills as well, and definitely tough. He's more than willing to be a tackler. He's the type of guy that you want to put in the nickel from that perspective, because he is good versus the run as well. RJ HARVEY out of UCF, one of my draft crushes, a guy that has real receiving chops. What I say to the level of like, hey, he can run real routes if you line him up with wide receivers, maybe that level. But I think he has the potential to develop in that aspect of the game if so choose. That being said, he is dangerous out of the backfield, can run the ball effectively well. He created a lot of explosive plays for a UCF offense that struggled as far as line of scrimmage was concerned, and really his offense in general. So RJ HARVEY, again, I was disappointed when they took him because I was like, oh man, I don't want this guy in the division. RJ Harvey's really fun to watch. Pat Bryant out of Illinois, bigger wide receiver, an interesting option for what this room currently has. We'll see if he can get on the field as well. Savion Jones adding to the outside linebacker pass rush aspect, and then Craig Robinson out of Alabama as well to wrap it up. So a solid draft, and ultimately where these expectations lie after some of the offseason, I wouldn't say it is Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, a little bit more of pushing the chips in. I wouldn't say significantly so. Nothing that I would say overextends them by any means. Evan Ingram's a solid veteran signing as well. So I would not say that it's a all in type of move by any means, but it is. These are moves that I feel do indicate that they feel like they can compete in this division. So expectation wise, I believe that they have the expectations to win the AFC West this upcoming season. With that being said, let's talk about Bo Nix in his second year. As far as Bo Nix is concerned, he was a guy coming out of Oregon that I thought had some limitations. I don't think that he has a cannon of the arm, an incredible arm talent. I think that he is generally accurate, which it certainly helps him out, and his athleticism is solid enough to be able to make some blitzes miss and make some and create some plays outside the pocket. I think the thing that really struck me was that he was if you found a way to be a lot more comfortable playing within the structure of the offense than I necessarily expected. And again, I think that was a little bit me underrating how much experience that he really did have at the college level and being able to understand where to come for Sean Payton's offense. And obviously, the first month or so was a little bit of a struggle in that aspect, but he immediately picked it up and was a competent quarterback for this team. And I think Payton's continual use to put him in positions to succeed, making sure you protect him as far as any disaster playmaking is concerned, and also understanding that this is a guy that you want to really attack the short of intermediate areas and allow him to really operate with quick game. And then if he has to make a decision and make a play outside the pocket, he does have the athleticism to do so. And so this question with Bo Nix as far as his ceiling, can he be a top 10 guy? I personally don't see it. Can he be a consistent, solid, a consistent, competent starting quarterback? No doubt about it. I do believe that that is certainly within the cards. And ultimately, when you have the defense that they do, I think that that is more than enough. The question marks will come in the surroundings a little bit ultimately. But shout out to Bo Nix, a good rookie season, certainly by rookie standards, and obviously good enough to get this team ultimately into the playoffs. So with that being said, let's talk about some of those surroundings around Bo Nix as far as the offensive roster is concerned. As far as this offensive roster, the headliner here is going to be Courtland Sutton. Got a brand new contract extension this offseason. He's steady wide receiver one for them. Is he a true number one? Is it a fair question mark? But he is somebody that's been a consistent presence for them in the outside and certainly seemed to have really good chemistry with Bo Nix to start out the season, which is good to see for the Broncos as well. Marvin Mims Jr., a guy that started to come on a little bit later on, coming out of Oklahoma, a gadget quote unquote type of player that you want to use and get the ball into their hands quickly and allow them to make some plays. It'd be interesting to see if there's more evolution in his game. Troy Franklin coming out of Oregon, Bo Nix's friend. We'll see, if he can take another step as well. Didn't get much from him last year. And then Pat Bryant, the rookie out of Illinois is going to be somebody to watch, certainly, for what his role is as far as Sean Payton's offense is concerned, because he's a little bit of the bigger frame. And if he can, again, have a similar type of chemistry with Bo Nix like Courtland Sutton does. And then the offensive line is really good. There's no doubt about it. You have one of the best guards in the National Football League in Quinn Miners. Mike McGlinchey is competent as far as the right tackle position is concerned. Garrett Bowles is good as a left tackle, to say the least. Ben Powers and Luke Waltenberg are solid at their positions too. And ultimately, they play very well together. And Sean Payton's offensive line protection rules help out a lot in that aspect as well. Tight end, Evan Ingram, somebody to watch for how he is used in this offense. Going to be very fascinating. Can play that joker position, pseudo slot to try and create some mismatches. Adam Troutman, a solid enough blocking tight end. Like I talked about, Bo Nix, Jared Stidham, as a competent backup quarterback. And I think that's fine. And then the running back room is interesting. J.K. Dobbins comes over from the Chargers as the veteran presence, and then R.J. Harvey drafted in the second round out of UCF to try and be the guy that adds a little bit of lightning to this running back room. With that being said, let's get to the defense. So as far as this defense is concerned, look, you're talking about one of the best defenses in National Football League, point blank period. There's no other two ways about it, man. This defense was elite, and they only added to it to be able to make them even more dangerous as far as this defense is concerned. Zach Allen, DJ Jones, John Franklin Myers, a good, odd front combination of what they want to do to stop the run and then also be able to get after the passer. Zach Allen's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the National Football League, and obviously playing a little bit of that odd front edge spot. You're playing essentially 3 tech, something 4-eye as well, but he is awesome. John Franklin Myers is also really good at rushing the passer, even while being a big defensive end. DJ Jones, good nose tackle. And then the outside linebacker spot only got deeper for real. Nick Bonito, also one of the good, really, really good young edge rushers in the National Football League. When I talk about, again, the edge position being really deep, and unfortunately some guys get lost in the shuffle, Nick Benito isn't somebody that's top 10, but he is still incredibly dangerous off the edge. Jonathan Cooper extremely good as well. They added Craig Robinson to add to some of that outside linebacker depth too. Savion Jones, it'll be interesting to see how much they play him either at that odd front edge or play him really as a standout outside rusher, but he also adds to the edge room and as well. Inside linebacker, Alex Singleton solid at the bike linebacker spot. Dre Greenlaw coming in to be kind of the complement to him makes a lot of sense as well. And then you get to the secondary, it's also dangerous. Patrick Surtain the second, best corner in the National Football League, hands down. Jaquan McMillan, starting in that nickelback spot. I'll be interested to see how long he can hold off JAHDAE Barrett for that spot. Then the other cornerback spot, a little bit of question mark. I think Riley Moss, come back from the injury, never really all the way got back, and he got targeted at times. Obviously, when you're playing opposite of SURTAIN, it's going to happen. An improvement and step up from him would help a lot. Chris Abenstrain, him being healthy and seeing if he can help out too, is going to be something to watch. And then the safety room is really good, especially if HUFUNGA stays healthy. Brandon Jones is good. Devin Key is also a factor as far as the safety room is concerned. I told you guys that this is one of the best. I think that this is an A+ grade. Now, is it my number one defense? I do have a team later on as the best team and the best defense in my opinion, but they are right there with them. And so I gave him A+ grade. Offense a little bit more of a C+. I have some question marks as far as that side we'll get to a little bit later on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to my breakout candidate. So my breakout candidate for this upcoming season for the Broncos is Mr. Brandon Jones. I think that he was a little bit underrated last year and being able to cover up a lot of things on the back end. If you add in the fact that JAHDAE Barrett is going to improve the nickel cornerback spot, and then you add in the fact that Tolisso Funga is going to be a little bit more used in that robber role and a guy close to the line of scrimmage to kind of create havoc as well. Obviously, this pass rush is still going to be elite on top of it. I think that Brandon Jones is going to have a lot of opportunity to take the ball away from quarterbacks that are going to make some errant throws. Again, like I said, I think that he has really good coverage ability on the back end to be able to get to a lot of different throws that may seem open to quarterbacks. I think he understands how to take advantage of overthrown balls as well. Again, can catch the ball very well and has good ball skills and being able to transition and phase in and out. And also, I saw a little bit on tape where he was trying to bait some guys into some throws, and it worked out pretty well for him. And I think when you're talking about the younger quarterbacks in the National Football League, Brandon Jones has an opportunity to take the ball away from a few of those guys, especially given the fact, hey, I can't throw it to one half of the field because Patrick Surtain is over there. It's going to be tough to throw it to whoever's in my nickel because of how good JAHDAE Barrett is. Now I've only got so many options to try and attack Riley Moss, and that automatically gives him a leg up and knowing, hey, this is where I've got to help out. And so Brandon Jones, a really good young safety in the National Football League and somebody that I expect is going to continue to create interceptions on the back end for the Denver Broncos. Let's get to what's got me excited. So look, what's got me excited to watch the Denver Broncos this upcoming season is RJ Harvey. I talked about how much I liked him coming out of the draft, coming out of UCF, ability to create yards when yards weren't there, given the fact that they didn't have that good of an offensive line and the offense overall wasn't that good. He was able to create explosive plays even when they weren't there. Now you take his receiving chops and his ability to run the football and pair them with what Sean Payton loves to do with guys out of the backfield. Obviously, this is a long lineage for him. Darren Sproles, Reggie Bush, Alvin Kamara most recently, and now you see RJ Harvey inserted into the position. Is he going to immediately be that level of running back? We will certainly have to see, but I do think that it's not a coincidence that they took him in the second round when he was, a borderline second, third round player. They wanted to make sure they secured him, and I'm not surprised that he is here with Sean Payton. I think they will use him accordingly as well to be able to get Bo Nix some easy completions and then ultimately create some explosive plays with his skill set as well. With that being said, let's get to my concern for the Broncos. Concern for the Broncos for the upcoming season does have to do with the secondary pass catchers on this team. And again, Courtland Sutton has, established himself at the top of the wide receiver hierarchy for a good reason. Obviously, they saw some development from MARVIN MIMS recently, which is nice to see. But again, there's limitations. He's more of a gadget guy proven. Can he continue to expand his game and be a real consistent secondary option? Evan Ingram coming over that Joker spot. Can he really can he really step into really being a consistent mismatch for, the Sean Payton led offense to really use against defenses as a weapon? And then there's also the Pat Bryant effect for Illinois, and then obviously throwing the ball out of the backfield to RJ Harvey. They have options for guys to step up, and I would say I would probably expect one of these guys to have a really good year, either MIMS to really improve or Evan Ingram to kind of carry over what he was able to do in Jacksonville. It's just it was tough for me to really figure out which one it's really going to end up being. And you could even get a surprise Pat Bryant where he comes in as a rookie and really is a factor. So that's really my major concern about adding those explosive plays to the offense outside of what Cortland Sutton is going to be able to do in receiving the ball and what they do in the run game. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to my hot take. So my hot take for the Broncos is going to seem a little bit out of place after the concern that I just talked about. So my hot take for the Broncos is going to seem a little bit out of place after all of the praise that I've heaped on, JAHDAE Barron specifically throughout this podcast. I don't think they should have taken him. I think that they should have taken Luther Burden the second. Or I think they should have taken Luther Burden out of Mizzou. Again, I've talked about Luther Burden earlier in my Bears episode about how much I think of him as far as a wide receiver prospect coming out of the draft. I think that he would have been the perfect fit for the guy to be able to do the short to intermediate stuff to create yards after the catch within Sean Payton's system that helps Bo Nix a lot, and then also add on top the true deep threat ability for his just true separation aspect of it. He would have been a real danger versus second cornerbacks in the National Football League that could have been a real, a consistent option, I would say, for Bo Nix. Now, look, reality situation is the offense is probably still going to be fine. RJ Harvey, Marvin Mims, Pat Bryant, Evan Ingram, they'll probably get enough out of those guys to quell some of the second the pass catcher concerns in that aspect of it. The defense obviously is going to be even better with JAHDAE Barron, but I truly do believe now was the time after you built up this really good defense, you've invested in free agency as far as the defense is concerned, add that next weapon to be next to Cortland Sutton and grow as far as go with Bo Nix as well to continue to improve this team. You still could have taken Pat Bryant, in my opinion, and then you would have really felt great about it. Now, look, you would have had some corner question marks, sure, but I thought you were an elite defense even with those corner question marks outside of Patrick Surtain II. Again, it's not to say I think JAHDAE Barron will be a bad player. I think he'll be a very good one. I just would have personally gone Luther Burden for the direction of this team, and in my opinion, the growth of Bo Nix as well to help out balance out this team and what they can look like moving forward. So that was my personal hot take. Let's go ahead and get to the predictions. So predictions for the upcoming season as far as the Denver Broncos, my bold prediction has to in fact include my breakout player, which is Brandon Jones, free safety for the Broncos. I think that he goes out there and has a 7+ interception season. I can he sneak in all pro? I think the safety position is probably just a little bit too good to allow that to happen, but it is something where it's not outside the realm possibility because he can have a 7 to 10 interception season. I truly do believe that with the way in which this team wants to play and how I think that teams will have to throw against this defense as well. So with that being said, Broncos 10-7. Solid, good record. I shouldn't say winning double digits. I think they'll be a better team than they were last year, where they kind of had to sneak into the playoffs. I think they'll be, a pretty good, wild card team for the majority of the season. I don't have them winning the division. I have to say that as well. But thank you guys so much for coming by for the Broncos season preview. I hope you guys please like this video, watch the other ones on the channel, and be able to subscribe to the channel here at DMW Sports on YouTube. We're at the DMW Sports on TikTok and Twitter, and we're getting the Instagram going at Sports DMW. Hope to see you guys soon. Peace out.